Namaste everyone. My name's Ashna and I'll be talking to Bhavan and Angie from Sustainable Water Use Birmingham for today's In Conversation With. Through our ICW platform, we aim to create conversation and dialogue about the climate crisis within our community. We do this by highlighting the work of climate activists and organisations here in the UK and showcasing their work in order to try and inspire others to join into the fight against climate change. Today's conversation is titled The UK Water Crisis, What Can We Do? This ICW is part of our extended theme for the next few months, which is highlighting the importance of the elements within Hinduism. So I'll now introduce our two lovely speakers. We have Bhavan, who is an environmental science undergraduate at the University of Birmingham, who hopes to encourage people and businesses to consider their water footprint. She organises events for Sustainable Water Use Birmingham, also known as SWAB, and most recently organised a webinar event with Dr. David Hanna, the UNESCO Chair of Water Science. She also researches and creates social media content for the SWAB accounts. Angie currently works on managing projects and implementing innovation with a focus on ESG at a law firm. She joined Uprising in 2019 to learn more about the structure of power and how she could make a more positive impact on social issues that she really cares about. Out of this, she has joined SWAB and has loved working as a team to make a real change. She's specifically interested in how we can help businesses implement water sustainability in their strategy for the future. So firstly, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
As we want this to be as much of an open discussion as possible, we encourage any listeners to ask questions whenever they like. So please feel free to comment any questions you may have, and I'm sure our speakers today will be happy to answer them for you. So my first question is, what is the UK water crisis and how has it come about?
Yep, so I can start with that. So the UK water crisis, there was a report written a few years ago by Sir James Bevan, who's the head of the Environment Agency, and that outlined the issues with the UK water supply. He said that by 2044, the UK won't have enough water to meet demand. And so there's two reasons for this really. So if we first think about demand, so since the 1960s, back in the 1960s, we were using about 85 litres of water per person per day. And that's rocketed, and we're now using about 143 litres each day. And in order to have a sustainable water supply, according to the Environment Agency, we need to get down to about 100 litres per person per day. So yeah, demand's just skyrocketed, and with that, supply's also shrunk for a number of reasons, and those are the two reasons why we're facing a crisis in the next few decades.
Thank you. So what are the reasons for demand rocketing? And you mentioned there was a couple of reasons why supply is limited more now than ever. So what are a few reasons for that?
Yeah, so supply's been decreasing. So in the UK, you might think, oh, there's, it's raining all the time. We've got, such great supply, but we actually face quite a few dry spells throughout the year. And during those dry spells, we face quite a few issues with drought. So drought is classed as 15 days of no rain. And these periods of drought have been increasing due to climate change. So by 2050, the amount of water available could be reduced by about 10 to 15%. And some rivers will see 50 to 80% less water during the summer months. And that's through the effects of climate change. And then in terms of demand, demand's just rocketed. So we've got so many household appliances that use so much water, and also we water our gardens, and especially during heat waves, we're washing our cars, filling up paddling pools. I think they say that during the summer months, our demand increases by a third just because of people's use at home increases by that much. So those are a couple of the reasons why we're facing the issues we are.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot more kind of usage of all appliances in households now, for sure. So could you tell us a bit more about how Sustainable Water Use Birmingham came about, and just tell us a bit more about the organisation generally?
Yeah, so Sustainable Water Use Birmingham was born out of the Uprising Environmental Leadership Programme in 2019. So Uprising kind of is there to help young people kind of make social action campaigns and kind of they say change the face of power. So it's sort of young people doing standing up for things that they believe in. And so yeah, in 2019 we all got together. There was 6 of us, and we all kind of decided to make our social action campaign based around water and the sustainable use of water. And as we were all based in Birmingham, we decided to call it Sustainable Water Use Birmingham. So basically, the idea of the of SWUB is to raise awareness of issues surrounding the sustainable use of water, and to try and help businesses and individuals kind of learn the best ways to save water and use the water that they do use more sustainably. So we now use quite a lot of social media, and as you said earlier, Ashna, webinars and things like that.
And we also last year we created a virtual, like a e-toolkit for businesses and how they can reduce their water use. And that just outlines a few tips for what they can do in the office, in kitchens. And we've also recently produced some posters that we print and we can send off to businesses if they're interested in putting up that content around their workplace.
Amazing. That sounds like some really good resources that you've created to kind of spread around. Just while we're on the topic, is there anywhere that you'd like to kind of pinpoint where people can access those resources?
Yep. So there's links to the resources on the website, and there's also an email address on the website. If you just send us an email, and we can send out the resources to your workplace address or anything like that.
Amazing, thank you. So what are your, this is a question for both of you, what are your individual roles within SWUB? Do you have kind of separated roles, or do you all just work together as a team on different projects and events?
Angie, you want to start? Or?
So I think we all have separate roles. So there's some people who are more focused on the social media side, and some on the event side. I personally do a lot with the website, so I help, and one of the other girls, Yusra, also does quite a lot on the website. And I quite like the sort of organising of things and the sort of idea creation. I think based on what I do as a job, not day to day. So yeah, I personally would like to become more involved, and I think I'd like to sort of start us getting doing bigger sort of projects within SWUB, to sort of raise more awareness of what we do. Yeah.
Bhavin, what's your role within the team mostly?
Yeah. So I think Angie's quite strategic, and like she helps give a large scale overview and kind of leads the direction of the team, whereas I guess I'm more helping with events, organising. So we recently had an event at Highbury Hall, and I guess more on the social media side as well, creating content in that way.
Lovely. So could you tell us more about the work that you've done recently, or any upcoming work, or anything that you're working on right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, do you want me to go, Pat?
yeah, go on.
So yeah, over lockdown we did kind of a couple of webinars, and yeah, so with Professor David Hanna, and then we one of the girls, Sophie, spoke on the University of Birmingham World Water Day event. So that was really good to kind of raise awareness of what we do, and to give us ideas internally of where to go and what to do. So I think since then as well, because of the lockdown, we've been doing quite a lot of just social media posts. We post quite a lot of tap tips, which are our sort of, it's a play on the word of top tips, and it's just to try and encourage people to do those small things that are that they can make the most difference, such as like turning the tap off when you brush your teeth or something stupid like that, but those things that can really help to use your water more sustainably but are accessible to everyone. Have I missed anything?
Yeah, no, you covered a lot. And I think going forward, we were, as a group, discussing about maybe creating like a podcast series about just maybe interviewing different people from within the water industry, their experiences, find out a bit more about, you know, the science behind it, what's going on with the water crisis. Yeah, so that's in the pipeline. We're working on that right now. But yeah, so I think maybe getting more digital content out there.
Lovely. Looking forward to hearing about the podcast too. It's always good to kind of hear from experts from a variety of different areas within your specific cause, because they've all got kind of different knowledge and information to bring. So really looking forward to that. So how can others get involved with SWAB if they wanted to, or how can they support your work or what you're doing?
So, sorry about it. Did you want to go?
No, you go first. I'll chip in later.
So I think that the main thing is kind of interact with what we put out on social media, because we are trying to we try to put out like kind of a regular stream of things, as I said, tap tips, but also we put out quite a lot of like posters and stickers and stuff that people could put up in their workplaces or their businesses, for example. And I think mainly it's just we'd quite like to partner with people. So similar to this, really, it's a really great opportunity to sort of talk to people that are sort of outside of what we've talked about before. And it would be really great to just get more partnerships. We've got quite a good partnership now with the University of Birmingham, especially with the guy who's like the sustainability officer for the union. But we're always looking to kind of link up with new people and chat about sustainable water use, really.
Yeah, just building on that, in terms of like collaborations, if there are other environmental campaigns out there that perhaps wanted support or we could share ideas, it'd be great to get in touch and just maybe do something like we're doing today, just to spread the word of the campaigns we're all working on.
Yeah, amazing. And like, what can the general public do to try and mitigate the water crisis and kind of make sure they're using water sustainably on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so one of the things I think is really useful is going onto your water supplier's website and ordering a free water saving kit, and this comes with loads of like little goodies that can help you save water around the house. So I recently ordered one from South Staff's Water, and I brought some of the things that they gave me. So they give you a shower head, a low flow shower head. It's still dripping because I just disconnected it today. But yeah, so that saves about 10 litres of water per minute, which is astonishing if you think about it, because we're using 140 litres of water per day, and if you get this shower head and you have a 4-minute shower, you're already saving 40 litres a day. So yeah, it's a very quick quick thing you can do. It also comes with a little shower timer, so everyone should be having 4-minute showers. You can just stick this on the wall and time yourself. So yeah, I think ordering a water saving toolkit, there's loads of other things that come with it, is really important, because it's just such an easy way of saving water around the house, and yes, all free, so
Why not?
yeah.
I think the first thing as well is to kind of raise your awareness. So that's what we're trying to do. So raise people's awareness of those little things, like Pastor said. You don't think about your shower and how much water comes out of your shower head on a normal basis. But yeah, to just try and inform yourself of where you're using water, because it's not always the most obvious. And so that's what we try and do kind of on our social media. It's more, yeah, like raise awareness of where people might be using their water and how they could actually use less or use it in a more sustainable way. Because I think that's always the first thing, isn't it? To tackle a problem, work out actually how big the problem is. So work out how much you're using. A big thing we ran a while back was about leaky loos. Pav, I think you were quite involved in that, weren't you? And there's a huge amount of water that gets wasted just by basically the loos, I think, just leaking water, is it, Pav?
Yeah, so the water actual like system, it's not built in a way that, you know, prevents leaks. So I think it's throughout the day there's just constantly water coming out of the system. And there are ways to test for that. There's some like strips that you can get, put it on the inside of the basin of the loo, and if it changes colour, you can see if you've got a leak. But leaks are quite common in loos, and not many people think about it. But yeah, that's one thing you can do. You can order these little strips and just test for that.
Amazing. Yeah, I think the thing about saying like you need to just advertise on social media and just tell people what the problem is, because I think a lot of people, they're not trying to be wasteful of water, they just don't know that there's really an issue there. So I think what you've said about just raising awareness is so important. We've had some questions. A quick question from me actually before I ask the audience questions. What kind of things are in the toolkit for the businesses that you've kind of published on your website? What are the main points that you cover within that?
Yeah, so we cover stuff like, you know, if your office has kitchens, what can you do to reduce water there? So only boiling the amount of water you need for a cup of tea at that point in time, or when you're running your dishwasher, make sure it's fully stacked before you do so. Because shockingly, using a dishwasher actually saves water compared to like washing up with running water. So yeah, so just tips like that. Angie, do you have any others on the top of your head?
Yeah, I think we tried to split it up, didn't we? So in different kind of parts of the building, for example, like kitchen, bathroom, and yeah, where you can save water in each place. And I think our main aim of it was to be it was relevant for everyone. So even though it was aimed at businesses, it's also basically very relevant for people's houses as well. So yeah, it's really just yeah, a lot of tips basically to save your water.
And how have you had very much engagement with local businesses from that toolkit? And how have they responded, if you have had any engagement with that?
I think so University of Birmingham reached out to us after seeing our social media content, and were keen to display some of the stickers and posters that we produced. I think that's one of the biggest kind of organisation or company, whatever, that's come forward and reached out to us. In terms of small businesses, we do want to increase our reach with them. I think we focused quite a lot recently on what individuals can do. And I think a lot of our social media is directed to individuals, but yeah, in terms of small businesses, yeah, we're looking to reach out a bit more to them.
I think with the lockdowns and things like that, it was harder. A lot of small businesses were closed, or a lot of organisations weren't working in the office and still aren't, I guess. So yeah, we kind of had to pivot during the pandemic of how can we actually get the most outreach and the most sort of how can we make the most change. And I think we did pivot towards individuals just because most people were at home, obviously. So yeah, I think that's on the agenda, isn't it, Pav,
for sure,
for the next while or so. Let's get more businesses involved as people are going back to their premises and back into offices and stuff like that.
Yeah, it might be a good time to kind of encourage those changes as well, because people have been away from it for so long that they might not even remember how they used to kind of function. So it's the best time to make changes, for sure. You mentioned your work with University of Birmingham. Have you done many events or projects with some of the students at university?
So with the University of Birmingham, I think the main thing that we've done so far is our webinar on the water crisis with Dr. David Hanna, who's a professor there, and that was in collaboration with the university like students union. So there were students that signed on to that. We had about, I think it was 40 viewers for that event. But in terms of kind of events with students, obviously because of lockdown, we've not been able to do any events in person, but we're looking to have a stall during Freshers Week or something like that, something like a physical presence on campus as soon as things open up.
Have you got anything to add, Angie, or that?
No, I don't think anything to add to that. I think that's, yeah.
Sorry, you look like you had something to say. To make sure I give you in terms of kind of sustainable water use, I think a lot of students think that they don't really do much to waste water because they live quite a simple life, I don't know, or they think, oh, when I go home, I'll make all these changes. Do you think that it is an important issue to raise with students and to make sure that they're aware of?
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly when we all got involved, I think we didn't quite realise a lot of the things that waste water and that a lot of the things that you can do actually to kind of to reduce your water usage. So for example, the leaky loos thing, I didn't have any idea that was a thing. I didn't realise that toilets leaked and stuff like that. And so even though, yeah, students, I guess, live quite a simple life, there's still a lot, our tap tips kind of are relevant to everyone. And I think maybe something we'll look at going forwards as well is not just the direct water usage, but indirect water usage, because I think that's the massive usage of water that you don't see, and it's kind of in your food, in your clothes, that sort of thing. We did run quite a few campaigns, especially around fast fashion and things like that, because there's a lot of overlaps with not buying too many clothes because of the environmental impact, not only because the clothes don't go anywhere, they once you buy them, they exist forever on the earth, and also because of the huge kind of resource usage that there is, water and lots of other things. So I think actually students, even though they live a simple life, there's a lot that they can do, that we try and kind of raise awareness for them, of little things that they can do to reduce their usage.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think you won't go to uni without meeting a student with an online shopping addiction of some kind, for sure. And that's a really important issue to raise. I think things like shopping on Depop or shopping more sustainable brands who try to limit their water usage or environmental impact generally, while creating their clothing is so important. One last question, I'll end it on quite a positive note rather than all doom and gloom, but what's been your favourite moment within SWAB? This is a question for each of you, or just a highlight since being part of the organisation. Putting you on the spot a bit.
I think probably the webinar with Dr. David Hanna was a highlight for me, just because we've been running the campaign for about 6-7 months at that point, and to get such a high profile speaker and get such a great audience, yeah, we had a real buzz from that, and yeah, I think that was probably a highlight.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the when we launched the toolkit, just because I think it looks really cool. So yeah, I think we put a lot of effort into the toolkit, and Uprising as a program was really good, but it was really hard as well. And at the time that we did it, obviously we met each other in person a few times, but then when the pandemic hit, we sort of had to go online. So I think I'm really proud of the toolkit and how we kind of made it happen, but I'm also just proud of us. I think still keeping it going, because it's really hard to keep something going when it's basically everyone just doing things in their spare time, and obviously people have gone from being students to getting full-time jobs. So yeah, I think I'd really recommend people to take a look at the toolkit, because it looks really cool, which I didn't have anything to do with. So, but yeah, I think just us still doing stuff makes me really proud, and I'm really excited to see kind of where we go from here, and I can't wait to kind of meet up with everyone in person and yeah, kind of get going. It seems like the world is getting going again, and it's maybe the time for SWAB to to take off.
I think it will make it a lot easier for you to kind of get your awareness out, as we said before, when businesses open again. And it will be nice for you guys to be able to meet in person. It's a lot easier to organise and plan events when they're not entirely online. It's just email after email. But no, it sounds really amazing, all the work you're doing. I'm also really excited to see where SWAB goes, and hopefully see your name popping up on all of business strategies and things like that. I'll also be sure to put the link to your toolkit when we upload this to YouTube, and yeah, the video will be available for everyone to watch on YouTube. If anyone in the audience has any more questions, please comment, and we can try and get Angie or Bhavan to send a message replying or something. I'm sure they'd be happy to do that.